So this time of year, in the winter, you haven't got a garage, but you want to take your car off the road. The options have generally always been get a car cover for the car, but that leads to all sorts of problems with paintwork, with moisture being trapped. Is there an alternative? Well, this week we're taking a look at this, the pop-up garage, and asking the question, is this the answer to anybody that wants to do winter storage but hasn't got a garage? Welcome to this week's Fast and Fun. This week, I've got a good friend of mine, Barry, that's just recently bought this pop-up garage. Have a look at the size of it. It is a bit of a monster. It's on the packaging here, so this one's just over 6 metres long. And the width of it is 3.7 metres and 2.5 metres high. So this is one of the larger ones. Barry, how much did this cost you?
It was about $4.70 I paid for it. It was on a discount weekend. I think it should have been about $5.50 normally, but yeah.
Okay, and then regarding when you buy one of these, I think clearly there's some benefits of getting a pop-up garage. One is around, it's cheaper than building a garage. It took how long to put up?
2-3 hours.
So
two of us.
So 2 or 3 hours to put up. So you can do it in the morning, you can do it in an afternoon. And obviously if you end up moving or you want to relocate, you can take the pop-up with you compared to a conventional garage. So there's cost savings, etc. But ground, I suppose you've got to have the place to put one of these pop-up garages. If you just come down the side, you could go smaller, but this it's over 6 metres long. This is big. So, and again, you'll have to think about the land that you put it on as well. So, in other words, this is just shingle over hardcore, is it?
Loads of hardcore and then gravel on top of this one. So it's not ideal for really tethering it down, I think.
Yeah, but I suppose you don't want grass though, do you? Because grass will just create moisture.
Yeah.
So, again, and you want it flat, you want it level. Here it's quite sheltered, I suppose, as well, because obviously one of the issues with a pop-up garage you've got to think about is wind strengths. You probably ideally want at least a side, and we're laughing here because Barry's only had this up a few weeks and we had 25-mile-an-hour winds about a week ago, and it stayed up.
So that was it. The day after I'd put it up, it was 25-mile-an-hour winds. It was buffeting around a bit nervous. Didn't sleep very well that night.
What about noise-wise? Is it?
It's fine.
It's not that noisy?
No. Didn't notice anything.
But again, I assume this is just a Clark. This is an example. I mean, you can pay, I know, thousands.
Yeah, I think you can buy industrial sort of standard. This is obviously just a domestic thing. You can buy industrial ones. They're more like $1,500 for an industrial one.
Yeah.
But,
so let's go and have a look inside. So there's no, just on the outside, well, you unzip it, Baz, if you want. Yeah. There's nowhere to tether this then from the outside. So all the fixings are actually down on the metal steel poles or frames, are they?
Yeah, and I've put pegs in each of the poles along the way. But,
it's steel, painted steel.
Yeah, sort of coated. Ideally, you probably want aluminium, I guess, for longevity. But
because of the size of this one, Barry's been able to get 3 kit cars in here. But you could get a really large vehicle into this one. I'm surprised there's no tethers on the outside, but what Barry is using that didn't come with the kit though was these that you've bought aftermarket, just pins that is hammering into all the footings of the metal frame structure. You've got all the cars covered. Why have you decided to cover the cars for?
Yeah, so I read a few reviews online and talked about condensation, which I noticed straight away the first day. There was condensation. So what I've done is put outdoor car covers on the cars just to protect them, really. I mean, especially being kit cars, they're open top it's just going to drip inside that, and
yeah,
that'll be no good for them at all. So.
Yeah, and I suppose you can just feel, even though it's not a bad day today, it is a bit wet on the roof. So again, that condensation is something that you'll have to think about. But it's quite a large space in this one. Okay, security is another thing. I think when you look at pop-up garages, you've just got to be cognizant of that. I assume that you don't leave anything other than cars in here.
No, I wouldn't leave any tools in here at all.
This is roughly £500, one-off investment. You compare that to if you wanted a storage unit or a large single garage. I know we've got 3 kit cars in here, but realistically, you're only going to get one medium-sized car in here and enough space to work around. You're probably looking at £100 a month. So within 5 months, you've got your money back going with something like this. The material, to me, it does feel quite hardy. Biggest concern, I suppose, and be interested to see how the moisture, the condensation that forms inside here, whether this has any effect on the cars. And I'll come back and speak to Barry in the spring to see whether A, it's still here, and B, if it is, has there been any issues with it at all. So we've just opened up the entrance, so it's a full side opening. I've just noticed, is this you've got to gain confidence that it's not going to fly away in the first sort of storm of the winter.
So yeah, jumping back to when I put it up, it was windy the next day, and I had no confidence in it, so I thought I'd tie the roof down to a wheel.
So we probably need to come back in a few months' time, or at the end of the winter, to see if it's actually still intact.
Still here.
Because the material's feels quite hardy.
Yeah.
It's only single skin though, isn't it?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah,
So it's not twin skinned. I expected loads of tethers on the outside, like you get with tents, and I think this will be a good test because it's so big. But you have put it up against a hedge and a fence on one side.
Yeah.
Southwesterly winds. Southwest is where here?
Southwest is that way.
Oh,
yeah.
wait, okay. So you've got a bit of protection then. You've got the house this side as well.
North over there, so it could get hit hard by that, but we'll see.
I think for me, I suppose, really it depends on the space that you've got. This is quite imposing. You've got the space at this house, but I suppose if you're doing this in your front garden, it's quite an imposing object, but it's got to be so much better than putting a car cover on and getting the scratches and abrasions and condensation building up. That's the big issue with car covers. And I think this is a really good alternative, even if you've gone to extra measures associated with breeze blocks and where are the actual pegs that came originally with it? Because there were some that were designed to screw into the ground.
There we go.
So these here are what came with it. So these obviously get just screwed into the ground, but you've got to have the right sort of ground to screw it into, because this is on what's like stones with hard core underneath. It's probably not quite suitable.
No, I did try and put one of those in. It's not a chance.
And but I'm not even sure what the best ground for this type of pop-up is. Is it patio slabs?
Yeah, I mean,
is it stones? It's not grass. It can't be, because it'll be too wet and
I think
boggy.
If it was a longer term sort of solution, I'd probably say patio, and then the outside probably is grass that you then use those
to screw into.
Yeah.
Or you could get them rubber mats, I suppose, as well. But the advantage is, if you want somewhere and you know you're going to be going in a couple of years' time, that's one of the advantages. In the afternoon, a few hours' time, we could have this all collapsed and moved on to somewhere else. So that's the advantage compared to the lengthy process of trying to do a garage build, the costs associated with planning, the time, the costs, etc. At least this, you can drop it, and if you move, you can take it with you. And I think this is all about keeping your cars out of the worst of the British weather. It's an option, £500 option. Whether it survives the winter or not, we shall see in due course. But if it does, it's got to be a really viable option. A little bit different this week. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please thumbs up, subscribe, stay tuned. Another video next week. Thanks for watching.